Do you ever feel like your mind is a broken record, playing the same worries and scenarios over and over again? Like you're trapped in a maze of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios that leave you feeling exhausted before your day even begins? You're not alone. In our hyper-connected world, overthinking has become an epidemic. We analyze every conversation, replay every mistake, and catastrophize about futures that may never come to pass. Our minds, designed to protect us, have become our own worst enemies. But here's what I want you to know. Overthinking isn't a character flaw, and it doesn't have to control your life. Today, we're going to explore 5 research-backed strategies that will help you break free from the overthinking trap and reclaim your mental peace. These aren't just theories. They're practical tools that have helped countless people transform their relationship with their thoughts. By the end of this journey, you'll have a toolkit to quiet the noise and find the clarity you've been searching for. Strategy 1. The power of the mental stop sign. Overthinking thrives on momentum. Once those racing thoughts begin, they build speed like a runaway train. The first strategy is learning to apply the brakes. Imagine your thoughts as cars speeding down a highway. You need a mental stop sign, a circuit breaker that interrupts the pattern before it spirals out of control. Here's how it works. The moment you notice your mind beginning to loop, whether it's replaying that awkward conversation from yesterday or imagining all the ways tomorrow's presentation could go wrong, say stop out loud. Yes, actually say it. This isn't just positive thinking, it's cognitive psychology in action. When you verbally interrupt the thought pattern, you're literally changing your brain state. You're taking control back from the autopilot mode that keeps you stuck. After you say stop, immediately engage your senses. Name 3 things you can see right now, 2 things you can hear, and 1 thing you can physically feel. This grounds you in the present moment and breaks the overthinking cycle. Try this exercise. Set random alarms throughout your day. When they go off, check in with your thoughts. Are you overthinking? Practice the stop technique. With repetition, you'll develop the skill to catch overthinking before it catches you. The key is consistency. Like any skill, mental stop signs become more effective with practice. You wouldn't expect to play piano beautifully after 1 lesson. Give yourself the same patience as you learn to conduct your thoughts. If this message resonates with you, and you're seeking more moments of peace and insight, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for daily reflections rooted in ancient wisdom and modern clarity. Strategy 2. Reframe the narrative. Overthinking often stems from our brain's natural tendency to focus on threats and problems. We become the directors of mental horror movies, casting ourselves as the victim in every scenario. But what if you could rewrite the script? Instead of asking, what if something terrible happens? Start asking, what if something wonderful happens? This isn't about toxic positivity. It's about training your brain to consider the full spectrum of possibilities, not just the worst ones. Here's a powerful reframing technique. When you catch yourself catastrophizing, write down your worst-case scenario. Then force yourself to write 3 alternative outcomes: a best-case scenario, a most likely scenario, and a neutral but okay scenario. For example, if you're overthinking about a job interview, instead of focusing solely on, what if I embarrass myself and don't get the job? Consider, best case, what if I connect perfectly with the interviewer and get offered the position? Most likely, what if the interview goes reasonably well and I learn something valuable regardless of the outcome? Neutral but okay. What if I don't get this particular job, but the experience helps me prepare for the right opportunity? This exercise doesn't eliminate challenges. It simply reminds your brain that multiple outcomes are possible. You're not being naive. You're being realistic about the full range of human experience. The goal isn't to become an eternal optimist overnight. It's to become someone who considers possibilities rather than certainties, probabilities rather than prophecies. Strategy 3. Set worry boundaries. Here's a counterintuitive truth. Trying to never worry is like trying to never think about elephants. The harder you try, the more elephants show up. Instead of fighting worry, give it a designated time and place. This is called worry scheduling, and it's surprisingly effective. Choose a specific 15-minute window each day, perhaps 6 to 6:15 p.m., as your official worry time. When anxious thoughts pop up throughout the day, acknowledge them and say, "I'll think about this during worry time." Write these concerns down so your brain knows they're captured and won't be forgotten. Then, during your designated worry period, set a timer and let yourself fully engage with these thoughts. When the timer goes off, you're done for the day. This technique works because it honors your brain's need to process concerns while preventing worry from taking over your entire day. You're not suppressing thoughts, you're organizing them. Many people discover that by the time worry hour arrives, their concerns have already resolved themselves or seem less important. The issues that remain can often be addressed with concrete action steps rather than endless mental cycling. Remember, you don't have to solve every problem the moment it occurs to you. Some thoughts are worth having, but they don't need to have you 24/7. Strategy 4. The action versus rumination test. Overthinking often masquerades as problem solving, but there's a crucial difference. Problem solving leads to action. Rumination leads to exhaustion. Here's the test. When you notice yourself thinking repeatedly about something, ask, "Is there a specific action I can take right now to address this concern?" If the answer is yes, take that action. Make the phone call, send the email, write the plan. If the answer is no, recognize that you've moved from productive thinking into unproductive rumination. For concerns you can't immediately act on, try the parking lot method. Keep a notebook or phone app where you record these thoughts along with a date when you'll revisit them. This might be check back in 1 week or discuss with my therapist next session. This system works because it acknowledges that some concerns are valid while preventing them from consuming your present moment. You're being responsible without being obsessive. The truth is, most overthinking happens about things that are either already resolved completely out of your control, unlikely to happen, solvable with a simple action you're avoiding. Learning to distinguish between these categories will save you countless hours of mental energy. Strategy 5. Build your mental resilience garden. The final strategy focuses on prevention rather than intervention. Just as physical fitness makes your body more resilient to stress, mental fitness makes your mind more resistant to overthinking spirals. Think of your mental resilience like a garden. You need to plant positive practices regularly, not just pull weeds when they appear. Here are the seeds to plant in your resilience garden. Daily mindfulness practice. Even 5 minutes of focused breathing can strengthen your ability to observe thoughts without being controlled by them. You're not trying to empty your mind. You're learning to watch thoughts come and go without getting pulled into their drama. Physical movement. Exercise isn't just good for your body, it's medicine for overthinking. When you move your body, you change your mental state. A 10-minute walk can often clear thoughts that an hour of sitting couldn't resolve. Sleep. Hygiene. A tired brain is an overthinking brain. When you're well rested, you have more cognitive resources to handle challenges without spiraling into worst-case scenarios. Connection with others. Overthinking thrives in isolation. Regular, meaningful conversations with trusted friends or family members provide perspective and remind you that you're not alone with your thoughts. Gratitude practice. Before bed, write down 3 specific things you're grateful for from that day. This trains your brain to notice positive details rather than only focusing on problems. These practices might seem simple, but simplicity is their strength. You don't need complicated solutions for mental wellness. You need consistent, caring attention to your inner world. And as you reclaim your freedom, you begin to notice a subtle but profound shift. Not in the outer world, that may still be chaotic, unpredictable, even unfair at times. But within you, something changes. You begin to trust yourself, not because you've figured everything out, but because you've learned that you don't have to. You've started to see that the thoughts racing through your mind don't define you, they inform you. And when met with awareness rather than judgment, they become less like enemies and more like messages, even the uncomfortable ones, even the scary ones, especially those. Because often what we fear most holds the very doorway to transformation. The anxious thought that says, "What if I'm not good enough?" is not the enemy. It's the wounded voice asking to be met with compassion. The thought that spirals into worst-case scenarios isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to prepare you, to protect you, to keep you safe. But now you know, safety doesn't come from control. It comes from presence. From being here, now, with all of it. And in this presence, something extraordinary happens. You stop identifying with the noise, and you start tuning into the signal, the deeper signal, the voice beneath the thoughts, the stillness beneath the noise. Call it intuition, call it your inner wisdom, call it the quiet knowing that even if the path ahead is unclear, you can take the next step anyway. That's all life ever asks of you. The next step, not the whole journey, not the perfect outcome, just the next small honest move toward alignment. And maybe that move is breathing deeply. Maybe it's going outside. Maybe it's speaking kindly to yourself. Maybe it's asking for help, or saying no, or saying yes to something that scares you in the best way. Whatever it is, trust this. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to do it sincerely. Because peace isn't perfection, it's presence. It's the courage to return to yourself again and again, even when your thoughts try to pull you away. It's remembering that your worth is not a reward for solving all your problems. It's your birthright. You were never meant to control every thought. You were meant to be with them, skillfully, gently, like a good friend. So walk forward now, not with force, but with grace. Not because the mind has been silenced, but because you've learned how to listen without getting lost. And when the overthinking returns, and it will, you'll greet it not as a setback, but as a signal, a reminder to slow down, to come home, to choose again. This is the practice. This is the path. Not linear, not flawless, but deeply human. And through it all, you're not alone. You walk alongside countless others, learning, like you, how to live with more clarity, more ease, and more love. Keep going. You're doing better than you think. And the sky behind the storm? It's always been there. Calm, wide, and waiting. And now, you see it.